When you're just getting started with a piece of software that is as sophisticated as Cubase is, there are always lots of little details to discover, and a few of these can be really useful in terms of speeding up your own personal workflow. One example of this is the project window's divide track list. It's very easy to miss, but once you know about it, it's a very useful feature. So let's explore. Now, regardless of your monitor resolution, in most projects, it doesn't take long until you have more tracks than you can see at any one time within the project window. And you therefore need to scroll vertically through the tracks as you change your focus while working. Of course, folder tracks can be used to help with this process. So you're just seeing the tracks that you're working on at a particular time. But even then, there will be occasions when you've got more tracks on display than you can possibly see in a single screen. Now, this might not be so bad with what you think of as normal audio or VSTI tracks, but there might be some tracks that you want to see all the time, and having these disappear as you scroll is obviously not so useful. This might be for a specific audio or MIDI track, but it's more likely to be for what we might consider as a global track. For example, the chord track, or the marker track, or the tempo track, or the arranger track, or the ruler track. Ideally, you might want those tracks to remain visible at all times, even if all of your audio and MIDI tracks do not. Now, this is where the divide track list feature can help. Now, you can toggle this feature on and off via the project menu. It's the divide track command, or via the very tiny button located here, divide track list, click on that, and when you activate it, that then places a divider line within your project window that separates the upper area and the lower area of your divided track list. You can adjust the position of the divider line to change the size of the upper part of the track list and the lower part of the track list, and if you drag a track into that upper part of the track list, you can scroll independently in the lower zone, and those tracks in the upper part of the display stay visible. Equally, if you have multiple tracks in the upper zone, you can also scroll within that. Now, the most obvious way to use this feature is actually to place your global tracks in a compact upper part of the track list. These can then stay visible at all times as you scroll vertically through your normal audio and virtual instrument tracks in the larger lower part of your track list. So let's demonstrate what we can do here. Let's go to the Add Track dialog. We will add a marker track. Let's add a chord track. And as I'm working in Cubase Pro here, I can also add a tempo track. And I can reposition the divider line depending on just how many of these global tracks I need to have visible all the time. So having now populated my global tracks, marker track, chord track, tempo track, I can now scroll independently below the divider line in the track list, and those global tracks remain visible at all times. When you have the track list divided, do take care when you're using commands such as cut time or insert silence. So for example, if we wanted to remove this chorus from the entire project, or we wanted to add in 8 bars of space to place a second verse before that first chorus, we were going to use those commands. You do need to take care of how you make the time selection, and the easiest way to do this, rather than using the range selection tool from the toolbar, use the normal object selection tool and simply place the locators around the section that you want to work on. Well, if I wanted to delete this chorus, I've used the normal selection tool to place the locators around that 8-bar section. I could then go Edit, Range, Cut Time, and you'll see that whole chorus section will disappear. The material in the lower part of the track list disappears, but the material in the upper part of the track list also disappears. If I wanted to add 8 bars of silence in here, so I can insert a further verse, for example, Edit, Range, Insert Silence, I've now created enough space to add a further verse part if I wish to into my structure. If you've got the Divide Track List option active, making your selection using the locators, make sure that whatever operations you apply to both sections of the track list. The Cubase feature set is undoubtedly full of some really useful little details, and the Divide Track List option in the project window is just one example. For new Cubase users, very easy to miss, but once you're aware of it, it can make navigating complex projects with multiple tracks that much easier. Anyway, I hope that's proved useful. If you're interested in this kind of Cubase and music tech related content, please do subscribe to the channel. And in addition, there are some further Cubase resources listed in the links in the video description below. Thanks very much for watching, and until next time, I hope you enjoy getting some music made.